Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey there, nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to another edition of Warhammer Wednesdays, where we showcase Warhammer Fantasy Battle Reports every Wednesday during our Fantasy Wargaming Weeks with our series, The Golden Age. And this is episode Battle Report number 114. It is a 3,000 point battle that is fought between Khorne Legion of Chaos as well as Bretonnians. My friend Big Puka is bringing in the Sanguine Skinners, a 3,000 point Khorne Legion of Chaos army, and I'm playing the Blackstone Crusade, a 3,000 point Bretonnian army. Now, in case you're just tuning in for the very first time, what we've been doing for our recent string of battle reports is we've been showcasing the abilities of the Blackstone Crusade, our studio's Bretonnian army. And what we've been doing is we've been taking this army and making it go through its paces by fighting every single army within our studio's collection. And this is the very last battle report of that series with the Blackstone Crusade, taking on our very last army in our studio. So with that being said, we're going to play some background music real quick. As the music is playing, we'll show you photos of both armies as well as our army rosters. If you want to see exactly what we're bringing for this battle report, you can pause and take a look at your own leisure, or check down the description box below where the army lists are located at. So with that being said, let's get this battle on a roll.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it. No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad, why we fought, or why we died. No. All that matters is that two stood against many. That's what's important. Balor pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
Alright, so the scenario rules for this one is Battle Line. It is the most typical game of Warhammer we play on this channel with standard deployment as well as standard victory conditions. So with the scenario rules over, let's go and talk about the battle plan real quick. So here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, we're playing on a 4x6 table. I'm deploying the near side of the table. My opponent's deployed on the far side of the table. And pretty much my battle plan on this one, it's pretty straightforward. I'm playing Bretonnians, he's playing Khorne Legion of Chaos. Pretty much the main thing for both of us is just to charge one to each other and just destroy each other in close combat. That's planning on what I'm trying to do. The only problem I have to worry about though is I'm worried about being countercharged by my opponent because he is playing such a close combat oriented list. So I'm going to have to be kind of ginger with my movement across the battlefield so that way I don't get countercharged. And the reason why is because most of my units are armed with lances. And if I get countercharged, I won't be able to get my +2 strength bonus, and that's going to be really rough. At the same time though, I do have my work cut out for me because while I don't want to advance as quickly across the battlefield so I don't get countercharged, I do have to worry because he does have 3 cannons in this army. He's got 3 skull cannons in this Khorne Legion of Chaos, so I do have to worry about that. So that's going to be a huge problem for me at the same time. For the most part, what I plan on doing is charging forward, destroying his skull cannons with my knight units, or smash directly into his Khorne Legion units, which are the mortal ones, the human ones, so that way I can break them in close combat. This army is designed to be able to charge directly into close combat, damage the opponent, overwhelm them with combat resolution from static rank bonuses, as well as bonuses from charging and standard bearers and so forth, force them to break, pursue and overrun and destroy the enemy that way. That's pretty much how this army is designed to do. And he's largely got warrior chaos units within this army, so it's pretty much able to do that. The only ones I gotta worry about though are the skull cannon as well as his bloodletters because they have demon special rules. But that's pretty much the plan on this one. So with the plan over with, let's go and talk about deployment real fast. So vanguarded up on my left hand side of my army is the Darning Rangers, unit of 5 yeomen with crossbows, light armor, shields, as well as spears. They're mounted on horses. In the left center of my army in the front there, that is a unit of 5 yeomen, once again vanguard up just an inch ahead of my main battle lines. They're 5 yeomen armed with crossbows, light armor, spears, as well as shields, and they're mounted on horses. Right behind them are the Bowmen of Brits, a unit of 20 peasant bowmen with longbows, as well as defensive stakes and braziers for flaming attacks. And then right next to them on the right hand side, those guys are my Templars of the my Hedge Knights. I'm sorry. Those guys are 9 Questing Knights with full command. They also got Banner Swiftness. They also got heavy armor, shields, as well as great weapons. Meanwhile, in the center of my army are my 2 units of killers. On the left-hand side, there's a Pride Lioness, units of 10 Knights of the Realm with full command. Full command with lances, heavy armor, shields, barded war horses. They also have the standard discipline, giving them +1 to their leadership. And leading that unit, of course, are 3 of my characters. On the left-hand side, that is Warren, the Hermit of Shalom. He is a Monk of the Lady, a level 2 wizard with the Lore of the Lady. He's got the spells Steedy Lady as well as Mrs. Shalom. He's also got a Dispel Scroll as well as a Terrifying Mask of E, and he's also mounted on a Barded Warhorse. In the center, that is Jeanne de Ray. She is the Marshal of Lioness. She's a Paladin. She's also my army's Battle Standard Bearer as well. She's got Lance, Heavy Armor, Shield, Barded Warhorse. She's also got the Knight's Vow. She's got the Virtue of Duty, giving her +1 to combat resolution, so long as her general is still alive. And she's also got the War Banner, giving her additional +1 combat resolution. Just that character by herself provides 3 combat resolution because she has both the Battle Standard Bearer, the Virtue of Duty, as well as the War Banner, which is all kinds of awesome. And lastly, right next to him on the right hand side, that is Lair the Beasts. He is a Templar Crusader with heavy armor, shield, barded warhorse. He's also got the Ogre Blade, giving him +2 to his strength. And he's also got barded warhorse as well. And the reason why he's in that unit is so that way they can reroll failed charges in case that doesn't work out. On the right hand side next to him, that is the Blackstone Legion, is a unit of 10 Grail Knights with full command. They got heavy armor, lances, shields, barded warhorses. They got the Grail Vow as well, and they also got the Banner Defense, which means that they have a 4 board save against all missile attacks. And leading that unit are 2 of my characters. On the left hand side, that is Kilchrist the Falconer. She's a Prophetess of the Lady, level 4 wizard on a Barded Warhorse. She's got a Staff of Sorcery, giving her +1 to Dispel, and she also has the Lore of Life. The spells she has for this one are Flush the Stone, Thorn of Vines, Regrowth, and Dwellers Below. And then on the far right hand side of that unit is Remedy Appion, the Duchess of Lioness. She is a Bretonnian Lord and the General for my army. She's mounted on heavy armor on a Barded Warhorse. She also has shield as well. She's got the Virtue of Heroism, giving her a heroic killing blow. She's got the Sword of Strife, giving her 2 up attacks. That way she gets a better chance of getting killing blow. And she also has Serene's Locket, which means she can never suffer more than 1 wound in any one phase. However, she is still affected by killing blow. And last, on the far right hand side there, that is a unit called the Dawn Templars. Unit of 9 Questing Knights of full command. They got great weapons, heavy armor, shields. They also got the Banner of Eternal Flames. And finally, making up my right hand flank on the left hand side, that is the Silver Squires, unit of 9 Knights Errant with full command. They got lances, heavy armor, shields, and barded war horses. They also have the Errantry Banner, giving them +1 strength any turn they charge. However, they do suffer -2 leadership for any of their impetuous tests. Up at the front right hand side there, that is the unit's called the Chasseurs of La'Arv. That is a unit of 5 yeomen with crossbows, light armor, shields, and spears, and mounted horses. And finally, right behind them is the Ravizan Guard, a unit of 24 men-at-arms with standard bearer and musician. They also got halberds, light armor, as well as shields. And that pretty much makes up my deployment for this one. Alright, so now that we're done with my deployment, we'll go across the table with the Sanguine Skinners, which is a unit my friend Big Poop with 3,000 point Khorne Legion of Chaos army. On the back left there, we have the Scyla the Destroyer. It's a unit of 8 Chaos Knights of Khorne with musician and standard bearer. They got Marks of Khorne as well as barded Chaos Steeds. They also have ensorcel weapons as well, and the standard discipline, giving them +1 to the leadership. And leading that unit is Arbaaal the Destroyer. He's an exalted hero of Khorne. He's also the army's battle standard bearer as well. He's got a Mark of Khorne, chaos armor, as well as a great weapon and shield. He's mounted on a barded demonic mount. He's got the Helm of Many Eyes, giving him always strike first, immune to psychology as well as stupidity. And he's also got the Dawnstone, which means he can reroll failed armor saves. And then right in front of him is a skull cannon. That guy is called Crimson Chaos. He's a skull cannon of Khorne. So moving on to the center deployment, and the left hand side there, that huge unit there is called the Marked Men. Is you have 26 Chaos Warriors of Khorne with musician and standard bearer. They got chaos armor as well as additional hand weapons, and also the Banner Swiftness, giving +1 movement. Leading that unit is Scyla Anfingrimm, who's the army's general. He's a special character, the Chaos Spawn special character. He's got Mark of Khorne, and he's also got the Brass Collar of Khorne, making that unit 3 up on their magic resistance. And on the right hand side, that unit is called the Black Legion. It is unit 24 chosen of Khorne with musician as well as standard bearer. They got halberds, chaos armor, as well as shields. And they have the Band of Rage, that way they can never lose their frenzy. At the same time, when they rolled up for the rewards of the Chaos Gods table, they got +1 toughness. So these guys are toughness 5, strength 5, and that's absolutely terrifying. Meanwhile, in the center there, in the front center left, that is another Skull Cannon Khorne called the Blood Rider. And right next to him in front of the Black Legion, that's called Red Ruin, another Skull Cannon of Khorne. And making up the far right hand side, we have the Flyers, the 8 points, with a unit of 24 Bloodletters of Khorne with Musician as well as Standard Bearer, and they're also armed with Hellblades, and that's all they basically have. And set off to the side, we have 2 units which are ambushers. On the left hand side, that unit is called the Flangs of Nier, which is a unit of 5 Fleshhounds of Khorne. They also got ambushers upgrade. And right next on the right hand side, that is Karanak, the Hound of Khorne, who's also the special character. He's got a brass color of Bloody Vengeance, and he's also on the side of the table because he's also coming in as an ambusher as well. So with deployment over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and both Big Puka and I roll off for initiative to see which of us will be going first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Chaos Legion. My friend Big Puka got the initiative on this one, and this photo is taken after the movement phase. And as you can see in this photo, my friend Big Puka does something that's very unkhorne-like, which is he doesn't move at all, which is absolutely insane. So I was kind of worried about that, actually. The reason why is because I'm a cavalry heavy army, and my gaming group is starting to realize the best way to defeat a cavalry heavy army is to countercharge. And so because of that, he is not moving because he wants me to come to him, which actually plays to his advantage, because while I'm not be able to hit him as hard with my cavalry units because he's so far away, he can still shoot at me and wither my units down with those 3 freaking skull cannons that he has. So I do have my work cut out for me on that one. So that part was absolutely insane. Now, of course, he does have to take tests to see if he can pass his frenzy test to see if he charges, but he doesn't have to worry about that this time. And the reason why is because he's got those 3 skull cannon Khorne. All 3 of those skull cannons are in front of each unit that has frenzy on them, and since they can't make a charge because they're not able to make it because something's blocking their way, he doesn't have to take frenzy tests, which is absolutely genius on that part. So because of that, his army just kind of stays exactly where they're at, have no reason to move, which is absolutely insane. So with that, we go directly to the magic phase. My friend rolls up on the Reign of Chaos chart and manages to get a 9 on this one, which is Khorne's Wrath. He doesn't have any wizards in his army, so he doesn't really have to worry about casting spells, but he gets to channel Paradise because, you know, he still has an army, and because of that, he uses Khorne's Wrath. Luckily for me, though, Khorne's Wrath doesn't hit any of my units. The small template just kind of bounces and scatters away off base, so none of my units get hit, but at the same time, though, it's still a factor I got to worry about. So the magic phase over to go directly to the shooting phase, and I laughed during the shooting phase. What ended up happening is he takes Crimson Chaos. His first skull cannon Khorne has him aim directly at my Knights of the Realm from the Pride of Lioness. He opens fire, and the first thing he rolls is a misfire. And when he rolls to the 6d6 to see exactly what the misfire is, he rolls a 1, which means that skull cannon explodes, which is all kinds of awesome. And then in the shooting phase, I cried. And the reason why is because my opponent, Big Puka, takes aim with the Blood Rider, his other skull cannon of Khorne. He answers 10 from the back on my Grille Knights and aims it directly in front of Kilchris the Falconer. The cannon shot actually lands 2 inches away and bounces forward 2 inches, which is actually kind of lucky for my opponent. It was enough to kill Kilchris the Falconer as well as one of my Grille Knights as well. And that part was horrible. And the reason why is because I failed my lookout star roll for Kilchris the Falconer, which means she takes a flaming cannonball directly to her chest, and it kills her instantly, goes through her and kills my second Bretonnian Knight, which is all kinds of horrible. And the last of the skull cannons, Red Ruin, does exactly the same thing. Fires 10 inches from the back of my Grille Knights directly in front of my General Remy the Apion, and he lands directly right on top of her. It doesn't bounce very far, just lands right on top of her after the bounce is done. But man, that part was rough. And once again, I failed my lookout star roll. So because that she takes a blast to the chest, I fail my lookout. I fail my my ward save from the Blessings of the Lady, and just like that, my general, my level 4 caster are both dead.
Something always brings me back to you. It never takes too long. No matter what I say or do, I still feel you here till the moment I'm gone.
And it hurts. It hurts so much. So with that drama over with, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 1 for the Bretonnians, and this photo is taken after the movement phase, and I just move up is what I end up doing. I don't march forward because, like I said, I don't want to be countercharged by my opponent. He does have 3 skull cannons right in front. Those things have some wicked bad impact hits. So because I just move up, my guys are normal allowance. So first of all, on the left-hand side, I march up the Darning Rangers, so that way I can hopefully bait my opponent with his Scyla Destroyer. So that way they charge to the left. That way opens up their flank to be countercharged by my questing knights as well as my hunters of my Realm hunters, hussars. So that's pretty much my plan there. At the same time, I also march up my chasseurs of larva on the right hand side, so that way I can draw in his bloodletters, and hopefully I can flank him that way with my questing knights or my Knights Errant. Luckily for me, my Knights Errant passed their leadership test and they were about charging, so that part's kind of nice. Everything else just kind of moves up their moment allowance directly to the center, so that way I can set up some nice counter charges. The Bowmen of Brutes stay exactly where they're at because they have defensive stakes, so hopefully they can do some long range fire, and I also march up the Ravazan Guard on the right hand side to defend my right hand flank. And that pretty much makes my move phase for this one. So here's a close-up of the Realm Hussars as well as the Darning Rangers moving up on the left-hand flank to put some pressure on my opponent to make him do some charging. And here's a close-up of my Bowmen of Brutes stay in the back left, so that way they could do some overwatching fire with some longbow shots. And here's a close-up of my main fighters. We got the questing at the left-hand side from the Hedge Knights. We also have my Pride Lioness, my crippled unit of Blackstone Legion, as well as the Dawn Templars. And here's a close-up of the Silver Squires as well as Ravazan Guard as well as the Chasseurs are moving up as forward as well. And this pretty much makes it my entire turn, unfortunately. My magic phase was pretty much shut down by Big Puka. Is able to dispel most of my spells, so that part was kind of sad because I only got a level 2 caster left in my army. Shooting was a wash because my shooting elements either marched or they're under combat effective. The Bowmen of British opened fire directly into the Scyla Destroyer, but all their shots either missed or failed to wound. And since nobody's in close combat, we skip that phase, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Legion Chaos of Khorne. Alright, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Chaos Legion of Khorne, and this photo is taken after the move phase. And once again, my buddy Big Puka does not move, which is absolutely frustrating. It's like when you took a page out of the Dwarf rulebook or something with his movements, so he just stands exactly where he's located at. He does have to take a frenzy test for Arbaaal the Destroyer, but luckily for him though, he passes no problem because he's a BSB and he also gets reroll for his leadership, so they don't fall for my bait by charging to the Darning Rangers. I was hoping he'd do that so that way I could expose his left-hand flank, his right-hand flank rather, and then I could counter-charge with my Hedge Knights and destroy him that way, but you know, Sylvie, all plans that, plans don't really work out all that often. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. He just kind of stays exactly where he's located at. So here's a close-up of his Scyla Destroyer as well as the Marked Men and the Blood Rider staying their ground because why do they need to move? And finally, here's a close-up of the Black Legion as well as the Red Ruin as well as the Flayers, the 8 points, just kind of stand their ground because there's no need for them to move at all. So with the movement phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. And during the magic phase, once again, my opponent rolls a 7 on the realm of on the Reign of Chaos chart, which means that once again, Khorne's Wrath is unleashed upon my army. So because I have to roll a d6 for each of my unengaged units to see if any of them gets blasted with a small template. And as Big Puka's rolling off, the Pride Lioness as well as the Blackstone Legion both got 6s, so because he does center the small template on them and scatters them 3d6 inches. Luckily for me though, the first shot went way to the back left, so it missed and hit nothing. I just opened up in open air. And meanwhile for my Blackstone Legion, it traveled like 11 inches in front of them, and it just kind of exploded once again, not hitting anybody. So pretty much ineffective magic phase. So with the magic phase over with, we go back to the shooting phase. And during the shooting phase, I laughed maniacally, and the reason why is because both of his skull cannons roll misfires on this turn as well. The Blood Rider rolled a misfire 6, so it can't fire this turn, while the Red Ruin rolled a misfire 5, which means it can't fire this turn either. So while my friend is unlucky because he rolled misfires, he is kind of lucky because he got the best misfire you could possibly get. Because don't forget, these are skull cannons, so they can still charge and still fight in close combat, which makes them extremely dangerous. So with the shooting phase over with, we skip combat phase because no one's engaged in close combat, and we go directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for the Bretonnians. So that takes me to the bottom of turn number 2 for the Bretonnians, and I discharge forward. And the reason why I was able to do that is because, yes, my opponent does have skull cannons in front of his units, but his skull cannons are not very big, which means I can go right past them and hit his nice soft infantry forces, and that's exactly what I do. So the first thing I do, of course, I declare a charge with the Pride of Lioness. Originally, I failed my charge, but because of the Fiery Zeal special rule with the Templar that's in that unit, I was able to re-roll that charge, and I made a successful charge directly into the marked men. I then declare a charge with Blackstone Crusade, who do exactly the same thing and successfully smash directly into the marked men as well. So now my Grill Knights and my Knights of the Realm have engaged the marked men, which is all kinds of awesome. I then declare a charge with my Questing Knights from the Hedge Knights, and they go directly into the Sanguine Destroyer, which is all kinds of cool. I then also declare a charge with the Dawn Templars, and they go directly into the Blackstone Legion, which is all kinds of awesome. And the Silver Squires also go forward as well, and they smash directly into the Skull Cannon of Red Ruin right there, because I plan on taking him out as well. Now, I then also, for the rest of the move phase, I just moved up my skirmishing units. I moved up my Darnay Rangers so that way they can get on the left-hand flank and hopefully charge them the next turn that way into the Signs of the Destroyer. I also move up the Realm Hussars so that way they can go directly to the front as well. I also march up my Chasseurs L'Arve to be in a blocking position to protect the right-hand flank of my Silver Squires from the Flares of the 8 points. And then I also march up my Ravizan Guard just to make sure that my opponent isn't charged directly to my right-hand flank, because then he'll be countercharged in the flank as well. And of course the Bowmen of Brits hang out in the back because that's what they do best. And that pretty much makes up my move phase for this one. So here's a close-up of the right-hand flank. As you see, the Chasseurs L'Arve in a blocking position to stop the Flares of the 8 points from counter-charging my Silver Squires, and the Ravizan Guard moved up in order to make sure that that plan sees it through. And here's a close-up of the Silver Squires going directly into Red Ruin. At the same time, my Dawn Templars going directly into the Black Legion. Really forward to see exactly how that combat goes. And here's a close-up of the Pride Lioness as well as the Blackstone Legion just going straddling either side of the Blood Rider and going directly into the marked men, and I'm super excited for that combat. And finally, here's a close-up of my unit of the Hedge Knights going directly into the Signs of the Destroyer with the Realm Hussars and the Darnay Rangers bringing up the flanks in order to help out. And lastly, here's a close of the Bowmen of Brits, just kind of stand their ground for the most part as well. Now, unfortunately for me, Magic once again a wash. I did try to cast what's it called? Mr. Shalom, because I do have to worry about those skull cannons opening up with grape shots. But unfortunately for me, my buddy with Big Pig was able to stop that, and I basically wanted to risk doing a miscast, so I didn't cast my second spell. So nothing much happened there. Shooting Face also washed as well, because unfortunately the only thing that the Bowmen Brits can hit are the Flares of the 8 points. Only a couple of them could see the shot, and with this long distance and the partial cover saves, they all missed their shots, so nothing much really happened from there. So with the Magic and Shooting Phase over, we go directly to the combat phase. And in the combat phase, the glorious combat phase here with the Silver Sentinels. In the end, I was able to put 3 wounds directly onto Red Ruin. Now, Red Ruin was able to kill one of my Silver Squires, which is kind of rough. But when you combine that with my charge as well as my rank bonus on top of the 3 wounds that I caused him, I put 4 additional wounds because of combat res. The Red Ruin explodes because of instability rules, and I overrun directly into the Black Legion. So as you can see, the Silver Squires just go right through those guys, smash directly into the Black Legion. Unfortunately though, the combat between the Black Legion as well as the Dawn Templars did not go so great. I was only able to kill 2 of the members of the Black Legion, which was kind of rough. At the same time though, they did manage to kill 3 of my guys as well. However, he does beat me by 1, but I also charge, so that kind of negates that. I also have a rank as well, which means I win this combat by 1, but of course, they have no problem whatsoever keeping their cool and not breaking. Now, normally for a Frenzy unit, when you beat them in close combat, they lose Frenzy, but because the Blackstone Legion has the Banner of Rage, they will never ever lose their Frenzy, so that part was kind of sad. Meanwhile, combat between the Blackstone Legion, the Pride of Lioness, as well as the Marked Men was a bloodbath. So first of all, my opponent decides to declare a challenge because he's got Scyla Anfingrimm, so he declares a challenge, and I decided to answer that challenge with my Zealot, my Knights Templar with, what's his name, Laria the Beast with his Ogre Blade. So the both of us just trade attacks. I managed to put a wound directly onto Scyla Anfingrimm, however, Scyla Anfingrimm was able to just straight up kill Laria the Beast, so that part was kind of sad as well, so not so great. However, for the rest of the combat phase, though, ended up being pretty awesome. In the end, my opponent was able to kill 3 members of my Knights of the Realm, so that part was sad, as well as one of my Grail Knights. However, between my Grail Knights, as well as my Knights of the Realm and everybody else in between, I managed to kill 12 members of the Marked Men, as well as put a wound directly onto Scyla Anfingrimm. Combined with my rank bonuses, as well as a combat res from Battle Standard Bearer, as well as Virtue of Duty, and as well as my rank bonuses, I win this combat by a landslide. And my opponent has to roll Snake Eyes in order to stand his ground. Unfortunately for him, he does not roll Snake Eyes, and he decides to roll to escape. He goes back 4 inches, and I decide to pursue with my Knights of the Realm. So he goes back 4 inches. I pursue with my Knights of the Realm. I go, I think, 10 inches forward, just because of my guys pursue the marksman off the table, and they go off the table edge as well. So those guys just kind of post right there to represent the fact that they're off the table edge, because they went right past it to go after him. And I killed Scyla Anfingrimm as well as the marked men and earned myself some juicy points. Meanwhile, combat on the left-hand flank did not go according to plan. In the end, I was only able to kill 1 member of the Scions of the Destroyer, so that part was kind of rough. At the same time, he also declared a challenge with Arbaaal the Destroyer because he has to for Eye of the Gods. I decided to answer the challenge with my Paragon, who's the champion of this unit. Needless to say, Arbaaal the Destroyer had no problem whatsoever killing my champion. Not only did he kill him, but he killed him twice over as well, earning 2 points of overkill. And at the same time, I was able to kill another one of my Quest Knights as well. So he wins this combat by 4. I kill one of his Scions Destroyer, drops it down to 3. I have a rank bonus, drops it down to 2. So he beats me by 2, but I pass my break test, and I don't go anywhere. So from there, that takes directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Chaos Legion of Khorne, and this photo is taken after the movement phase. And as you can see in this photo, not much movement really happens, just because most of his units are engaged in close combat. The only movement he really does is that he charges forward with the members of the Flares, the 8 points. Those Bloodletters go directly into the Chasseurs of l'Arve, so that part's kind of rough. At the same time, pretty much he also moves his Skull Cannon, the Blood Rider. The Blood Rider turns directly to the right to face off against my Blackstone Legion, because I have a sneaky suspicion he's going to try to grape shot my Grail Knights. At the same time, he rolls for his ambushers. Karanak shows up on the left-hand side there, as you can see in the back left, and the Fangs in Near also show up in the center of the table as well. Decided to use those guys in order to beef up his forces, and that pretty much makes up Big Puka's movement phase for this one. So here's a close-up of Karanak showing up on the table edge there with the Ambusher special rule, as well as a Scions Destroyer who's still engaged in close combat with my Hedge Knights. And here's a close-up of the Fangs Near, as well as getting back on the table in the back there from Ambusher special rule. At the same time, you can see the Blood Rider turn directly to the right in order to grape shot into my Blackstone Legion, and you can see that my Dawn Templars as well as my Silver Squires are still engaged in close combat with the Black Legion there on the right-hand side. And finally, here's a close-up of the Flares, the 8 points, taking on the Chasseurs of l'Arve, and I know that those yeomen are dead just because they're not going to be able to stand against that many Bloodletters and survive. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. During the magic phase, my opponent channels his dice and magic get an 8, which means that he gets the Dark Prince Thirst ability off on his Reign of Chaos chart. And in case you're aware of how the Dark Prince Thirst rule works, pretty much any unengaged unit has to roll a d6. On a 6-up, they get attacked by the Dark Prince. When ends up happening, you roll 3d6, and you subtract that from the leadership of the unit. For every point that's over the leadership, you take a wound automatically without any armor saves whatsoever. It's one of the most powerful abilities up on the Reign of Chaos chart. In fact, when I was playing my Slaanesh Chaos Legion army, that was the one I was always trying to go for, because that one was the best in my opinion. Unfortunately for me, 2 of my units did get affected by the Dark Prince Thirst. The first one was my Riom Hussars, so that part's kind of sad. And the other unit to be affected were my Boomer Brits, which is all kinds of horrible. So as you can see in this photo, the Riom Hussars are no longer in this world because the Dark Prince, the Slaanesh, drank their souls and killed every single one of my yeomen, which is absolutely horrible. So thirsty. And over here in the back left-hand side, my Bowen of Brits also get attacked as well. I lose 5 of those guys. So the Dark Prince must be thirsty as he drinks their souls as well. To make matters worse, my Boner Brits are nowhere near any knight units. So because of they're losing their peasant leadership of 5, they also don't get any rerolls because they're out of range for my Battle Standard Bearer. And they flee, and they fly off the table, which is all kinds of horrible because now those points are going directly into Big Puka's pockets on this one. So the magic phase over, we go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, oh my goodness, the Blood Rider opens up with a grape shot directly into my Grail Knights. He rolls a 6 on the artillery die. All 6 shots managed to hit. All 6 shots kind of wounded. As you can see in this photo, that unit got cut in half. I think I lost 4 Grail Knights from that from the Blood Rider, which is absolutely horrible. And luckily for me, I don't have to worry about taking break tests because these guys are immune to psychology. See? Commander Cheapskate remembers things sometimes. The reason why I bring that up is because in Battle Report 113, I made a panic check for my Grail Knights, which cost me the battle. Just because I forgot they were immune to psychology, but I didn't forget this time. See, sometimes painful memories help you to learn. So with the shooting phase over with, we go directly to the combat phase. And in the combat phase, over here on the right hand side, the Flayers of the 8 Points had no problem slaughtering my Chasseurs Larve. They kill those guys, do a quick combat reform to face against the right hand flank of my Silver Squires, which is all kinds of bad. Meanwhile, combat. Oh my goodness, the combat phase. The fight between the Dawn Templars and the Silver Squires against the Black Legion was completely one-sided. In the end, I was able to kill 2 members of the Black Legion. However, the Black Legion was able to kill, 3 of my Silver Squires, so 3 of my Errant Knights. At the same time, I managed to kill 3 of my Questing Knights as well, so that part was brutal. Needless to say, I lost this battle, no problem, and I had to take a break test, which I failed for both units. I had to flee, my opponent pursued. As you can see in this photo, the remains of the Dawn Templars fled, I think, 10 inches back. Meanwhile, my Silver Squires, I think, fled 7 inches. My opponent has to pursue because he is frenzy, he goes forward 4. So that's the nice part. At least he doesn't catch my units or destroy me yet. But at the same time, though, those guys lost the Blessed Lady, and they're also running for the hills, and my right-hand flank is slowly collapsing behind me. So with that, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 3 for the Bretonnians, and this photo is taken after the move phase. So there are no charges really taking place. Oh, sorry, I take that back. I do charge. I charge for the Darning Rangers directly into Karanak, just so that way I can keep that guy occupied. I have the sneaky suspicion that my yeomen are dead against Karanak, but you know, you do what you can. For the rest of the move phase, I also charge for the Ravizan Guard. They go directly on the right-hand flank of the Flayers, the 8 Points. That way they keep those guys occupied for a little while. However, for the rest of my army, everything else just kind of moves in as best they can. My Pride of Lioness comes back on the table, which is all kinds of awesome, which means I get a beautiful flank charge directly against the Blood Rider into my next turn. At the same time, I also take my Blackstone Legion and I move them back a couple inches so that way they can't be, so that way they won't be flanked by the Black Legion there. That way they get charged. They get charged in the front there. At the same time, as you can see there, my other 2 units, the Silver Squires as well as my Dawn Templars, they fail the leadership test, they don't rally, they keep on fleeing, which is all kinds of bad. So here's the close of the Darning Rangers, going directly into Karanak, the Hound of Khorne, because what else am I going to do? My plan is slowly falling apart and my army is being scattered to pieces bit by bit. And here's a close-up of my Hedge Knights still taking on the Scyla of the Destroyer, as well as the Pride of Lioness moving out on the table, which is all kinds of cool. And here's a close of the Blackstone Legion trying to escape from the Blood Rider because they don't want to get grape shot again because that really hurt. And here's a close of my Dawn Templars as well as my Silver Squires running for the hills because they don't want to play anymore. And finally, here's a close of the Flayers of the 8 Points being flank charged on the right hand side by the Ravizan Guard, which is all kinds of awesome as well. So the move phase over, we go directly in the magic phase. And during the magic phase, I managed to cast a boosted version of Mist of Shalon with my character Warren, the Hermit of Shalon as well, which means that all friendly units within 18 inches have -1 to hit against ballistic skill wise from shooting attacks. So because of that, the Blood Rider has a -1 for his ballistic skill if he wants to shoot with his grape shot, which is all kinds of good as well. So the magic phase over with, we go directly to the combat phase because all my shooting elements have been destroyed. And in the combat phase, disaster strikes. Karanak had no problem whatsoever slaughtering all 5 members of the Darning Rangers, so because of that, they're all completely dead. At the same time, Arbaaal the Destroyer, as well as the Scions Destroyer, had no problem finishing out what was left of my Hedge Knights as well, killing those guys to the last man. As you can see, they also do kind of combat reforms as well, which is all kinds of bad. Meanwhile, combat on the right hand side was actually pretty cool. I did manage to kill 4 members of the Bloodletters from the Flayers of the 8 Points. However, they were able to kill 5 of my guys as well. I win combat, and since my opponent is a demon, though, he doesn't worry about taking break tests, so he just kind of stands his ground for the next turn as well. So from there, we go directly to the top of turn number 4 for the Chaos Legion of Khorne, and this photo is taken after the move phase. First thing he decides to do, he declares a charge of the Black Legion directly into the back of my Silver Squires. He charges forward something like, I think 11 inches, was able to overrun my Silver Squires and kill those guys last man, so that part was kind of rough. At the same time, it also declares a charge with the Scyla the Destroyer, goes directly into the left-hand flank of my Blackstone Legion. So that part's kind of rough. And he also declares a charge with Karanak, the Hound of Khorne, as well as the Fangs of Near, who do a pincer attack directly into my Knights of the Realm from the Pride of Lioness up in the top left-hand side. Meanwhile, he does a combat reform real quick with his flares the 8 points, and then face off face to face against my Ravazan Guard, and then he also moves up the Blood Rider to face against the back of my Dawn Templars, because he plans on shooting them with some cannon shots and they're running away, because, you know, why not? So here's a close-up of the Pride of Lioness being flank charged by both Karanak, the Hound of Khorne, as well as the Fangs of Near, and that part is going to be extremely painful. I'm not looking forward to that, I don't mind saying. Meanwhile, here's a close-up of Arbaaal the Destroyer, as well as the Scyla Destroyer flank charging directly into what's left of my Blackstone Legion. At the same time, you can see the Blood Rider getting ready to open fire with his cannon and my fleeing questing knights. And here's a close-up of the Blackstone Legion, who overran directly into the back of the Silver Squires, killing my Knights Errant to the last man. And finally, here's a close-up of the Flares, the 8 points, scoring off directly against the Ravazan Guard. And between you and me, I know my Ravazan Guard do not stand a chance, not against Bloodletters. So the move phase is over, they go directly in the magic phase, and my opponent rolls a 10 for his power dice, which means he gets Chaotic Surge on the Reign of Chaos chart, which means that his demons now have +1 ward save. So now his Bloodletters have a 4 ward save, which is all kinds of bad for me. And in the shooting phase, Big Puka opens up the cannon from the Skull Cannon directly into the Dawn Templars, managed to kill one of my guys, and I'm like, why? Why are you shooting this fleeing unit with only 3 guys left? And Big Puka, without missing a beat, he basically goes, because blood for the Blood God and skulls for the Throne of Khorne. And I guess that's the only reason why you need from a Khorne army, I guess. So with that goes directly to the combat phase, and as you can see in this photo, combat phase was absolutely brutal. Karanak decided to issue a challenge against my Battle Standard Bearer, which is Jean Duray, the Marshal of Lioness. I accept the challenge, and Karanak had no problem whatsoever slaughtering my Knight of the Realm. At the same time, the Flesh Hounds of the Fangs of Near managed to kill 3 more members of my Knights of the Realm as well. I just flood my armor saves. They're really easy armor saves. I'm not sure how I was able to do it, but I rolled a bunch of 1s and 2s, so I filled my armor saves, and I did not roll any 6s for the Blessings Lady. So because of that, I lose this combat by a landslide, and I flee. The Fangs of Near pursue like 13 inches, managed to 12 inches, that's right, and they managed to overrun my Knights of the Realm and managed to kill those guys the last man, which is pretty sad. At the same time, Karanak does a combat reform and just looks really cool in that photo. Meanwhile, over here on the left-hand side, the Scyla the Destroyer had no problem whatsoever killing the last of my Grail Knights. They killed those guys the last man, which is all kinds of sad, so I don't think I'm going to be winning this one. And over here on the far right-hand side, the Flare of the 8 points, they do manage to kill 6 of my Ravazan Guard. I do manage to kill 3 of them. However, my opponent wins this combat by a landslide. I had to take a break test, and unfortunately, I failed that break test. I roll a 3 for my flee test, for my fleeing distance. My buddy Big Puka rolls a 7. So because of the Flares of the 8 points, overrun and kill every single member of the Ravazan Guard. So that part was kind of rough. And with that, that takes us directly to the end of the game, because the only thing I have left are 2 questing knights who are never going to rally, and that brings a victory for Big Puka as well as the Chaos Legion of Khorne. And at the same time, ends our series of battle reports with our Bretonnian army fighting every single army in our studio's collection and taking it through its paces. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going directly to the after action report, because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
I thought about staying. They offered me the chance to lead them, to teach them, to be king.
Uh-huh.
But my place is here, so I swallowed the juice, said the words, and here I am.
Did you say the words right this time?
Well, maybe I didn't say every single tiny little syllable, no, but basically I said them, yeah. Basically.
Alright folks, now it's time for the After Action Report. This is part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn for the next time that we do battle. This is the After Action Report for the Golden Age Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report number 114, and this one ended up being an epic defeat for Commander Cheapskate. My opponent, I managed to score 1,078 points off of my opponent. He managed to score 3,714 points off of me. In the end, I lost Remedy Apion, the Duchess Lioness, Kelchris the Falconer, Jean de Ree, the Marshal of Lioness, Lair the Beast, Warren the Sherma Shalone, the Pride of Lioness, the Silver Squires, the Ramzan Guard, the Bowmen of Brits, the Hedge Knights, the Dawn Templars, the Darnay Rangers, the Riom Hussars, the Chancellors of the Arv, and the Blackstone Legion. Pretty much I got tabled in this battle report. Meanwhile, Big Puka, he lost Scyla Anfingrimm as General, the Marked Men, Crimson Chaos, as well as the Red Ruin as well. So that part was kind of nice. However, I got tabled in this battle. It was really, really bad. I was starting out pretty well. I killed Scyla Anfingrimm, I destroyed the Marked Men, but then things quickly devolved from there. Big Puka brought a very unorthodox list in this battle report, and at first I didn't think it was a very good build. He didn't have any magic or magic defense really, and I thought it was a mistake, but clearly since he wiped the floor with my face, I was absolutely wrong with that one as well. Keeping his skull cannons in front of his frenzy units was actually genius. It kept him from charging forward when if he ever failed that frenzy test, so pretty good on that part as well. And for the most part, for me anyways, magic and shooting were pretty much non-factor in this game. My shooting was horrible in this game, and my magic phase was pretty much destroyed in the beginning part of the turn. So because that, which meant that most of this need to be resolved in combat, and anybody who fights against Legion Khorne armies know that combat is exactly their strength, so I was fighting against Big Puka's strength, and it really showed in this battle report as well. Looking back, I should not have pursued with my Pride Lioness after the Markmen. I should have tested to restrain them to keep that unit in the battlefield, and the reason why is because that's half of my killing power right there, and by making them go away, I didn't have any magic buffs or anything like that, so that was kind of a bad move on my part. However, you know, even though I did lose this battle report, it was still a fun game against an awesome opponent, and as always, I am looking forward against the rematch against Big Puka again. So there you go. This pretty much makes up the final standings for my 3,000 point Bretonnian army for our studio. In the end, I was able to get 8 wins as well as 6 losses, which is actually pretty respectable, all things considered. This army, let me tell you off the bat, I had a lot of fun playing this army. It was really fun to assemble, it was really fun to paint, and it was extremely fun to play as well. I had a blast playing the Bretonnians, and I feel that the Warhammer Army's project rule set that was created for them for 8th edition was an excellent resource for this army. It really makes the army competitive, especially against their other 8th edition counterparts, considering that they never got an updated from the rules, I think since 6th edition, I don't think. So that part was kind of nice. At the same time, it didn't make them too overpowered, in my opinion as well. The rules were actually so good, in fact, that I'm actually thinking about using another army, Warhammer Armies project book, to build another army using that rule book as well. I'm still kind of toying around with the idea, but if anything changes, you guys will be the very first ones to know about it. So that's good to do for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is always appreciated. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest, greatest hobby news related to our channel. That's good to do for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.